What's up, my sexy bitches? This is Bad Money, and today I'm gonna prove to you guys that the markets, gold, the metals, right? Pretty much all the markets are being manipulated. If you don't know, then now you know. But you guys see this orange line, right? That's calling the top on gold that I got from these 2 points in the past. Look how gold kissed it before it went sideways for 10 years before it broke its all-time high. You guys see this, right? Right here, this is in September of 2011. And gold didn't break that high again until over here, right? October of 23, right? And if you don't know, you guys should probably know to follow me on Bad Money 619, because I was telling people about this. Look, this is back in January. It's the same line, right? And the reason I knew that gold was gonna top is because I was seeing the manipulation. Like, this is Bitcoin versus gold, and from these 2 points right here, I noticed that we were about to hit it. And the one thing I know is that I don't know if these lines are gonna hold, but I know they're gonna have a reaction. So I knew that gold was about to hit the max pain, right? There's no other line I could draw below this. And what blew my mind after that is that I went to measure Bitcoin and silver, and it looked like the same chart to me. It was also approaching the line at the same time. So that's why I went back and I found that line on gold. And that's how I was able to call the top on gold. I was telling people as I was approaching, I was saying, watch out. And look at that, I called it. Look, gold top, son. And ever since then, it's just been madness. I heard that this first candle, this crazy candle on gold, is apparently worth the whole market cap of cryptocurrency, which is what I want to talk about now, right? Because it looks like the dollar is about to take a dump, is being rejected here multiple times. I don't expect it to get above this zone. If it does, I guess the dollar is going to come all the way over here. But if we lose this line, then we got to come test these lines from way in the past, in the 90s, that we haven't tested in forevers, you know? So I think gold's gonna drop hard all the way down here. So that's why I tell you guys, you guys gotta pay attention. I'm not drawing these lines to make money. I'm trying to show you guys the manipulation that's happening all around us with these charts. It's insane. So anyway, so today I want to explore using those same techniques. We're gonna break down Bitcoin, because I'm looking at the charts and we could have called this latest bottom right here in multiple ways. So now I never seen something more manipulated than the Bitcoin charts, right? We already know about the cycles, the 4-year cycles and the halvings and all that, but let me show you. So the first way to have called this bottom right here was from this level right here. Boom. Right, look at that. There's the top. This level was important at this time because it held the price, you see right here. It took it all the way down, and then when we came back to attack it, we weren't able to, and that was the top, right? That was a fake out candle, and then boom, we dropped. And then the pain wasn't over until we broke out of here. Max pain, you broke out, you retested, and then boom, that would have been like the best trade ever, right? You also could have called that bottom actually from its own origin level, which would be something like here. I'm sure there's another one on a daily, but look, anything below that line would have been the best buy ever, right? So anyways, just to show you guys that these lines are not a joke. So look, you should have gone long right there. The question is are we gonna hold this? I don't know. We're gonna break that down. Another way to have called this bottom is not as accurate, but it was pretty accurate. The bottom, right, on the weekly, lowest gray candle to the next open gray candle, which is right there, as you guys see. I think in the future, I think Bitcoin, that would be the ultimate bottom actually. Like if we fell there right now, we're talking about $55,000 or $56,000 Bitcoin, which is not bad. It kind of makes sense because we might even attack this right here, but we'll come back to that. But that didn't call the bottom. But usually you want to fill this space up, right? So then you go to the next open candle, because you guys see there's one more candle. So you connect it, and then you start this pattern from there again. Another line from here to here, and doing the rules, you'll end up right there, right? You guys see there's no open candle below here, right? So this is where we stop. And then when you zoom out, what do you know? The current bottom on Bitcoin again. And now let me show you from the top. You like it from the bottom, from the top, whatever. I can give it to you all the ways, guys. Top candle, white candle, to next open white candle. And there you go, boom. That one's not as accurate, it's not as impressive, but on the daily, check it out. That's, I mean, if you would have taken it long there, you would not be mad, right? If you took profits, obviously. But it's even more accurate, actually, if you would have done it on the daily. Let me remove this line on the weekly, right? On the daily, check this out. Top white candle to next white candle, right here, to the next open candle, right? We do our thing, and we end up right there to the next open white candle. We end up right there, which held the price down multiple times. And once you break out, you always come back to retest this line. So boom. So there you go. There's three that would have given you this current bottom on Bitcoin. But the question is the pain over here, or will it continue? Because as the way we'll know the pain is over is when Bitcoin is able to break out of here, right? There's no, I'm really curious to see what happens when Bitcoin hits here. It's probably gonna have some sort of pullback. Gonna go up here first and then test this line. I don't know. We could come back to this line, or we could go lower. So let's figure that out. Using these same techniques, what would be the final bottom for Bitcoin? And I'm thinking that, I don't know, let me check this out. But usually what happens, you see how there's now on the daily, right? We're on the daily and there's some candles below here. Sometimes I notice that these kind of give you a hint that there's more of this line. This line can give more, right? So if we go to the max pain zone, it would be this candle, right? There's nothing below it. So that's it. So I think Bitcoin could come and hit that line. So how close are we? Okay, that's pretty good. And the other reason I like that is because, let's go back to the weekly. Next line that matters before this one, the original one, was actually here. This is a big one, right? Look how when this candle came here, it got completely bought up before we failed. And again, right, you could have called the top on max pain, right? You can't draw anything above here. Look, you broke out of it, you kissed it, boom, right? Same thing I'm telling you guys here, right? Broke out of it, right? Kept you down, broke out of it, you came, you kissed it. So same thing. It's exactly what happened in the past. And you also could have been, the best buy zone would have been right below here, right? This origin level. So look at this. This would have been one of the best places to buy. And there's also like an origin level here, probably. Let me see. Yeah, I guess right here. So look, anything below that would have been an insane buy on Bitcoin. So now we're here in the present. I think we could come down to this line on the weekly. Yeah. So I'm waiting for this line too, which correlates with that line. Let's remove these now. We don't need these. And let's look for other lines. Like this one, actually, I want to stay above that because this breaks this whole move. But it makes sense that we would come and kiss it, and it's right below it. So I think this is a zone, guys. Look, this is a max pain zone. It's gonna have a bounce at least. So I can see Bitcoin coming into this area. And what's interesting about that is that if we drop the SMA on the weekly, is this on the weekly? It's sort of, we always come back down to kiss it or even below it, right? And we haven't done that yet. So I think this is the zone, guys. Watch out between, I'm gonna put it in the books, but somewhere between 57,600 and 54,500, 600 or 500. That would be picture perfect bounce on Bitcoin. And if you think about it, if you hit this line, or the closer you get to it, the more bulls you liquidate, because all their stops are right here, right? And the more bears you'll trap. So maybe we get a John Wick here, right? One of these long wicks. So we'll find out. But as you guys can see, these lines are not a joke, and the manipulation is real. And I think you should be buying. I don't care what's happening in the news, because, well, maybe if the war continues, then maybe we're gonna fall to this line, right? I don't know. I think it's possible. Even that first line I drew, I think that's, I don't know why this one feels more right. From here to here, right there, yellow. And it's the same thing. Wait, this is on the weekly? No, sorry. Oh yeah. It's the same line basically. Anyway, I think this is the zone to watch out for. Set an alarm, guys. I'm really curious to see what happens here. And according to the charts, right, we are building support. And if Bitcoin measuring gold can break above this line, this resistance that's currently holding it down, then as a trader, I just go based off the lines, right? This is saying you're better off in Bitcoin now than gold. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because the regulation that's happening behind the scenes, right? The bankers are fighting with the crypto industry, right? The old money and the new money. And on top of that, we have BRICS versus the US, right? All these countries that are dumping the US dollar. We have the war. There's a lot of changes, so nothing is set in stone. But I don't know, it's harder. It's easier for people to get out of a war zone with Bitcoin and gold, right? It's hard to move your gold, so it makes more sense to be in Bitcoin. Also, we sent another space shuttle into the moon. And I think Elon could capture an asteroid pretty soon. And if it has, the gold's gonna drop. And there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin, right? And the dollar looks like it's about to take a dump. Right? It's been rejected out of the zone multiple times already. And if we lose this line, I've been telling people it's gonna drop all the way over here, which would be a big drop. So you're pretty much better off in anything other than the dollar. And with the war, right, there's going to be less and less things, and the dollar's going to be able to purchase less and less. So I don't know what that all means, but as an American, do you want to be in the yuan, right? Because the yuan looks like it's about to destroy the dollar. If I pull up the dollar versus the Chinese yuan, I think the yuan's going to go all the way to this line, because these lines are like gravity. I just showed you guys. So these are crazy times. And then I'm looking at other charts, but some of these cryptos are just flat. This is the best time to buy. Look at ICP, it's just death. Look at XRP, just crazy correction, trying to build support off of here too. What about Ethereum? Ethereum's held this line multiple times. Look, guys, you could have had this line since May of 22, and I had it on my X forever, right? Look at, I have this chart on my X forever. So again, follow me at Bad Money 619. But look at Ethereum, how many bounces it's had off of here. Look, you could have taken the long right here, son. Look at, boom. That would have been nuts, right? And when do you get out? Well, when you break one of these, right? You would have broken here, you would have gone out. Maybe on the daily, right? You take a long at the line, bottom candle. Let's see, when would I have it gone off? To the next one, it's right there. So once you broke out of here, you broke a candle, you came back and tested it before the rejection. This is really when you want to get off, right? But anyways, these lines are not a joke. And on top of that, I'm looking at the Bitcoin dominance. Where's my Bitcoin dominance chart? Which I've been telling people forever that I thought the altcoin season was gonna start when we broke below this yellow line. We've been holding this for multiple weeks, man. Every time we come down into it. But now it's being held down by this resistance. And I have this Bitcoin dominance chart forever, right? My whole plan was to not sell my crypto until we got down here, but it just never happened. This is a complete crazy situation that we're experiencing all over the world in all kinds of ways, right? Just with the war and all that. And yeah, so I don't know. As you can see, we're breaking below it. Maybe there's no altcoin season, but I don't know, man. These charts make me feel bullish, but maybe the war does start and Bitcoin breaks down over here, and now we're going sideways for 10 years, just like gold did. But the manipulation is real, guys. Look how accurate these lines are. It's bananas. Anyways, I hope I made some sense out of all this chaos for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I love y'all. Peace.